time, and Kirst, I'll be back very shortly with the new All Blacks captain.
Thank you so much, Kim. Wow, a lot to discuss, a lot to dissect there. Scott Robertson said the selection is the best part about being an All Blacks coach, but you've got to get it right. Did they get it right from what you've just seen?
Yeah, look, I think it's a very good squad, obviously. My first reaction is disappointment for Hoskins, just because I think he's played well all year, and so he'll be incredibly disappointed. And for me, I don't know what he needs to do more, but that is their selection. They've obviously got a game plan in mind, Mills. Yep. That's the first one. I think there's a few other unlucky ones. You know, I thought Riccatelli's probably a little bit unlucky. Havili, who's been around a long, long time, but we probably thought he was probably on the fringe. So there's a few. 3 locks is another interesting thing.
Darius
so,
cover.
Yeah, Darius cover, but I thought 3 locks was interesting when I felt we're a bit light there. So I don't know, what are your thoughts?
What are your first thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, congratulations to the new uncapped players. 5, I mean, special moment for themselves and their families, but it's a good squad. I mean, you mentioned it before, Goldie, the fact that every All Blacks squad is fairly pretty good. And, man, what a tough decision. I mean, he's mentioned it. The Lucy's was always going to be that. We've mentioned it, you know, week in, week out, the other side of it. Yeah, I was surprised at 3 locks. You know, and also some omissions from some of the other guys as well in the midfield. I thought they might have gone for probably a lesser, one less sort of wing, and then probably bolted that up. But I'm more interested now in the types of players. If you look in depth in terms of the players that we've got, looking at sort of the style that the All Blacks are going to play, and what sort of, you know, what Razor Robinson and his team are going to bring out in terms of this first Test match.
I look at the selections, and that's exactly what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at, you know, some of those players who have missed out, who have been very, very good in Super Rugby playing a specific style. But when I see a George Bell, Cody Taylor and Asafa Amua, tells me the type of athleticism and guys on the edge carry the ball out in open spaces, really talented, play at real high speed. You start looking at that. Basilio Tossi is the one surprise that I don't know how many radars he was on, but ultimately when they went to 6, they obviously felt they needed a lot of cover there. So it gave them room to find a place for him. And now it's whether he gets an opportunity against England. You know, look, it's been very, very difficult on a number of players. You know, I was sure that Peter Lakai might get an opportunity in this group. So now the balances of where are some of these players going to have their impact? Is Ardie Savea going to be seen as the number 8? Or are they looking at Wallace Satiti and you're going, you know what? Sometimes there's a superstar out there who can change and shift the balance. And he's the guy when you see with ball in hand, and particularly once again, the ability to punch through the middle of the park, get momentum going forward. I think you can look and make an argument for everyone who's been selected. It was always going to be tough, like we've always said, on some guys who've had some really good form throughout the season.
There's some great stories out there. Basilio Tossi, you came across him a few years ago. Now's Mills. He may not have been on many people's radars, but he has played very well for the Hurricanes this season. Well, he's come through Southland.
Yeah, even better, Jeff. Right? I mean,
come on, Jeff.
That's where he made his big gains. That's where he made his big gains down south.
He's the Rotorua boys high, but he went down south and he obviously knew the ways, got some Sweden to him, and look where he is now. I mean, what a fantastic story.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not experts in terms of the propping sort of department, but Jason Ryan's obviously seen something in and thought far out. And when you think about the games that he did come on and sort of replace Lomax, that Brumbies game that we had spoken about in the green room, he was massive. And so, what a moment, JK.
Yeah, look, I think your question's a really interesting one for me, Goldie. How are we going to play? And I think you've got to look at the selection and go, what is the All Blacks X factor? I mean, Tamaiti Williams pulled his hamstring doing a 40-minute sprint. You know, you see Tossi there just carrying the ball strong. So are we now looking at a style of rugby where we want really dynamic ball carriers, late feet, because they've all got late feet at the defence line, you know, and then you've got a pretty strong outside back contingent, you know, when we've been getting rid of backs lately, you know, and we're all outside backs. We've been taking less backs and more midfielders. But if you look at this selection, then I think how we're going to play is fundamental. We have not won the World Cup since 2015, and we need to find a style of rugby that's different to what everyone's seen.
OK, well, let's head back to Christchurch now and hear from our new All Blacks captain, Scott Barrett.
Thanks, Kirsty. It's wonderful now to be joined by the new All Blacks captain, Scott Barrett. Scott, thank you for your time. Congratulations. Wow, All Blacks captain. It is a role kids here grow up dreaming of. What does it mean to you to be entrusted with the captaincy?
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Yeah, I'm hugely honoured and grateful for the opportunity to captain the All Blacks, and excited about what's ahead, and understand it's a huge job, and understand there's a lot of pressure that goes with it, but excited to see where this team's going.
Can you tell us a bit about how you were told you were going to be captain? Where were you? What were you doing? And what was your reaction?
Yeah, Razor, he came around and floated the idea of captaincy a few weeks ago, and sort of left it with me. I guess he knows how I operate, sort of like to think things through, and it wasn't until last week where I guess he formally sort of confirmed that, and we had a conversation, and shook hands, and I sort of thanked him for, I guess, the opportunity, and in camp it was, I guess, the first step of getting to work, and really excited about it.
Did you manage to keep a lid on it, or did you spill to your family?
I informed a couple of close friends and family. I guess bounced the idea off to them, and it was an awesome bit of news to share, and they were hugely excited as well as I was.
You obviously had leadership roles before this, but this one is special. What sort of leader do you want to be for this team?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to lead the Crusaders in the past, and having played alongside some great leaders to this team. And I guess the way I play, that's how I want to lead from the front and the top five, and I guess let my actions on the park, do the talking. That's how I want to lead.
New coaching group, new captain. What is most important for you as this new era gets underway?
I think it's starting well, and we've had, a non-finalist camp last week to sort of get on the front foot, because we've got England in 13 days, and it's a huge challenge that they're going to pose in Dunedin and in Auckland. So, the coaches and the players, I guess, having heard their name get called out, they'll be excited and ready to get to work.
And I suspect you are too, Scott. Thank you so much for your time. Kirst, I'll be back with some more players after this.
Thanks, Kim, and a big congratulations to Scott Barrett and his family, who managed to keep that a secret for a couple of weeks. He is joined by his brother, Geordie Barrett, as vice-captain of the side, as well as Ardie Savea. You can't be unhappy with that selection as skipper, can you?
Oh, no surprises there. Look, he's a guy who's always, when he's out on the pitch, he's performed at a high level. He had some discipline issues over the few years, but that's because of how hard he plays. And that's what he does. Every time, whatever jersey he puts on, Mills, it's always front and centre, and I think he was world-class at last year's Rugby World Cup. He does lead by example in terms of his effort, and this is just something, a continuation of the good work he's done down in Christchurch with the Crusaders. Look, how many tests has he played? He's played 69 tests. He knows what it's all about now. And don't forget, he'll have a large group of guys around him. Yeah. They always have this leadership group. You've been a part of that, I'm sure, in the past, that will support him in his job.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is now, what we see on the field is exceptional. He leads from the front in terms of what he does as his job. The big stuff now is connecting the guys off the field. You know, what does their culture look like? What is, the things off the field? I mean, we talk about the haka and stuff like that. That's a big part of actually, bringing these guys together. They haven't got long, but it's important that they get that stuff off the field and really get connected before they start hammering the stuff on the field.
Yeah, I'm just looking at probably what the leadership guy. I think it's an amazing choice. I think it's perfect choice. Love him as a player. He's not a exuberant type of guy. He want to lead from the front. But you've got Cody Taylor with 85 tests. You're probably looking at his two brothers, obviously, with Geordie. You've got Ardie, obviously named as that. So Anton Leonard-Brown, there's enough of those guys that have been there long enough to be able to help him. Now it will be, I always remember Kieran Reid saying, I can't be anyone else, I've got to be me. And that will be his biggest challenge, just to be himself, get those other leaders around him and just lead from the front.
Just quickly, yesterday on the breakdown, you said you're worried about how much experience has gone from the All Blacks. Are you happy with what you're seeing in terms of numbers there and years of experience?
I still, There is. I think there is a bit of satisfaction there. I still believe that, some of those guys, especially when you bring Satiti back, in there, I think we still need a bit of a buffer in terms of that. It is spread around. The key also is to make sure that you're bringing those guys through, even if you're not sort of playing.
Yeah, no, for me, I actually think we're short. That's why I think the next 3 years is going to be really important to get some of these numbers up.
We've got time.
We've got time.
We've got time. It is the start of a Rugby World Cup cycle. How exciting is it to have our first All Black squad of the year? We'll be back in just a moment to dissect it far more, and we'll hear from some of the new caps. No mai, hoki mai, welcome back into the Breakdown Special. Well, we're going to get stuck into their expertise, the outside backs, because last night there was a lot of umming and ahhing about who will be in, how many they'll take. By the looks of this list, Jeff, there's only one out-and-out fullback named in the outside backs and 4 wingers. Is that how you see this?
This has taken far too long to get to the most important positions on the field, let's be honest. And I say that in jest, but ultimately when you think about the backfield and you think about what's going to be coming their way when you play the likes of England, when you play the likes of South Africa, there's going to be plenty of stuff coming up high, and it's going to be a lot of kicking, all right? So ultimately I look at this group and you go, yep, Beauden Barrett, he played at fullback for the All Blacks last year, did a really, really good job, but he's been named as a first 5, but I'm expecting him to be the fullback. Coming in those first couple of tests.
Really?
That's what I'm expecting. But what we are saying here, there was no room for Ruben Love. The fact we've decided to take 4 specialist wings, and Amoni Nadara, I believe, can play fullback, but I wouldn't look at him at this stage in his career and where his game's at. So, ultimately, Stephen Perofeta is actually a critical part of this selection because he is that fullback cover. He's that guy. Yes, Geordie Barrett, but we went down that path before. I don't think we'll go down that path again. But for me, this has been remarkable. This is how much confidence they must have in him because he hasn't played a lot this year, Mills. He spent quite a bit of time on the sideline. We saw last year really good for Taranaki. He's come back. I think he's owned the 15 jersey in the last month for the Blues. And I think they see something special here. And, I like this, but you've got to feel for Ruben Love because early on in the season, the young man was on fire, playing some outstanding rugby and maybe not getting one more opportunity to shine in a final in Super Rugby. Maybe that hurt him.
Yeah, could have possibly hurt, but I think also the relationship Leon McDonald's had with Perofeta. I mean, you got to remember when Leon was there, he had Perofeta last year at fullback, Beauden, at 10. So perhaps that comfort of knowing that what he can produce. And the last few games and big moments, I mean, his positional play is sound, his kicking is pretty good, and he's very good in the air. I think that would be. I would have thought that perhaps they might have gone with one less winger and filled someone in with a Ruben Love or a Stevenson. But
who's your starting back 3? if you look at that list there, Mills?
Well, I think Narawa probably warrants that. I think the way he sort of played, particularly these last couple of weeks, aerial skills. This is the thing that was stripped back. Is his aerial skills good? Is he deceptive? Because we know our wingers can finish, right? Okay, what else can they actually bring when you're playing against an England side that will kick a lot? Very good in the air, can create stuff off his feet. They all can do that. But I think in terms of the completeness, he probably brings a bit more of this. And then you kind of look at Sevu Reece, who's been on a back end of a struggling team, Jeff. And the fact that he's played so well and scored so many tries when you're not getting front football in a team that's sort of down in confidence. I look at players like that because they have to do things a whole lot harder than the others have to.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that we're one short, so I don't think you can name Bowden Barrett and Damien McKenzie then start them at fullback. Because if we're looking for specialists, so I think we're missing one fullback. And I think against England there's going to be a massive aerial game. So I think Caleb comes into it even for his kick-off ability, but also his high ball stuff. And I think that having just Stephen there at fullback is really interesting for me. So I'm trying to think about the bench now, okay? So let's say we go with Goldie's idea and we start Barrett at fullback, McKenzie at 10. You put Perifetta on the bench because he can cover both. So you're pretty well covered there. But for me, I think against Northern Hemisphere and South Africa, a specialist fullback, Mills, when you've played there, is fundamental, and we need to make sure we're nailing that high ball. So when I look at this, I'm trying to think back to what Goldie said about how we're going to play. It excites me. I'm really pleased because we've been cutting wingers out. It's always been, we'll take 3 and Geordie can cover there. So having so many, specialist wings there and just one specialist fullback.
Yeah. I sort of look at the selection a bit. I think when you start looking at the team and the guys that are probably going to play, and this is the thing, I got a number of these players wrong out of this squad. I think some guys have missed out I thought might have got on the back of their form. But once again, clearly they've got a skill set they're looking for. And that comes back to, and you mentioned it, the style that we play with our props and what we ask our props to do. And if you look across the world and the top teams across the world, and Ireland and South Africa are clearly in that conversation, their mobility, their versatility, their set piece is still immaculate, but their ability to be ball players, you get the sense now that that's what this All Black group are looking for. That's their expectation. And when you pick 6, you're giving 6 guys an opportunity to step up and say, you know what, this is what we need to see out of you going forward. So other teams have set a standard. Let's see what they can bring.
So you've had your fun with outside backs. Time to talk props. Let's head back to Christchurch and hear from Pasilio Tosi.
Well, it's great to be joined now by one of the new caps, Pasilio Tosi. Pasilio, you found out this morning. What was it like getting that call?
Nah, it was crazy. Normally I'm not one to answer unknown numbers, but when we got told at the pre-camp, you'll be getting a call on Monday if you made it or not, I was just on edge all weekend. I knew I shouldn't have stressed about it that much, but as soon as I seen that number, I quickly answered it. Well, before that even happened, I was just waking up. My kids had just woken me up in the morning, and I was just strolling upstairs in my jocks. Holy heck, still I just woke up when I was on the couch, chucked the movie on for them. One was getting a bit rattled. He was throwing a tantrum, and then I was like, oh, come down. And I answered the phone, and then it was Razor, and he said, hey mate, congratulations, you've made the team. And I quickly put him down and went downstairs and woke up his own. I was like, come on, celebrate with me. Yeah. It was I don't know. It's a feeling I can't really put into words, but I'm excited to learn and hopefully during the season I'll be able to put on that jersey and do it proud. So.
What was your family's reaction?
Well, because at the time, I didn't really want to tell anyone, but I told my partner, and she only just gave me a hug and gave me congratulations and all that. But that was heaps. It's something that we've been working towards and something that I've been trying to work towards to try and get to. So I'm just excited. Yeah.
You mentioned trying to work towards it. For a lot of people, they will now be calling you the genuine bolter of this squad. That is going to be the phrase associated with you. Did you think you were in the All Blacks frame?
Well, just little whispers throughout the season. Just keep chipping away. You're close. You're almost there. But I didn't want to let it really get to my head. And I just wanted to be able to go out there and just have fun. And just play rugby because I first started playing it was because I loved playing it. You know, I didn't really play for it for, you know, like all the other stuff. I just played it because I loved running with the ball. So, yeah.
You've had quite the journey. You're a number 8, now you're a prop from Southland Bay of Plenty with the Hurricanes. What has been behind this year's form to put you in the frame and in the mix here?
I don't know. I would just say moving the prop was probably the best thing that I could have done. You know, like, but the hardest thing about it was when I was checking my ego, you know, like saying like, you know, I can make it at 8, but realistically, no number 8 is running around at 140 clicks. So, so it was the best change for me. I reckon it was just once I got my ego in check, and I was able to change the prop and got better coaching, and you know, learning off, you know, one of the best heads that I think is Terrell, and learning off Jamie McIntosh as well. Big shout out to him. You know, he's helped me a long way with my scrummaging. So, you know, just getting that all knuckled down, and then I was able to focus on my game. So that was good.
Have you begun to imagine yet what it might be like to pull on that black jersey?
Yeah, my heart's racing out the back when I was chilling out the back and they were naming the names or announcing the squad. And then once I heard my name, that was when it felt real to me that I was finally in the squad and I could potentially put on that jersey this year. So I don't want it to be given to me. I want to earn it. So hopefully throughout the season I can earn that jersey and be able to do it proud, like I said before. Yeah.
Well said. Thank you for your time and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers.
Oh, what an amazing man. 140 kgs. There were no number 8s running around that size, apparently. So the best move, he moved to prop. JK, don't you love his reaction? Doesn't usually answer unknown calls.
Yeah,
and he did this morning.
what a beautifully spoken young man. And you can see why he's been picked, Mills. You know, he is humble. He has worked incredibly hard. I did it with it's such a hard transition. I did it when I coached Italy. I put Fabio Ongaro from loose forward, said, you're not going to make it, but you'll be a great hooker. And he did it, and it was intense for the poor man. You know, so you can imagine playing front row. So, but I just loved the way he expressed himself. I thought it was beautiful.
Not a bad way to wake up in your jocks. To be told that you made the All Blacks and putting your kids, you know, calming your kids down. But I mean, he is, and I love the fact that some of the things he's sort of spoken about, you know, that absorbing all that sort of, he's already done it already. He's learnt of Terrell and also, you know, the fact Jamie McIntosh is there. That's what you want from these young guys. They want to absorb it, they want to earn the jersey, as he sort of mentioned, and he's got a big, exciting part. I think the hardest part for him is just sort of coming down after sort of all this sort of happens, right?
There's going to be a steep learning curve for a lot of these guys, and he'll be one of those. But when you look at that combination of props, there's a lot of youth there. So it's actually, when you talk about growing a position, we've got guys at loose head and tight head that continue to develop and get better over time. But at the moment, you know, Ofa Tuangafasi is clearly our senior citizen at 57 tests. That is all. And we know how critical the set piece is against the top sides, particularly at scrum time, because they can take games away. So for this group, I'm just talking the props as a whole. You know, Ethan de Groot, Tyrell Lomax, you think where he was 2 years ago and where he's got to now, the growth that they've got out of this group, I think this is really important selection and an important part of the game. We know that. And now it's up to these young men. Tamaiti Williams, just 7 test matches. Fletcher Newell, only 13. We're inexperienced at an international level in our props.
I think that Jason Ryan's got a cunning plan, Baldrick.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
You calling me Baldrick?
Yeah,
I'm not taking that very well.
Yeah.
You need to start listening to the wireless again.
The cunning plan, Baldrick, is when you think about the size of these men now. Yeah. You know, so you think about the size.
What is Baldrick?
Oh, you don't know. Blackadder, you won't know that. It's back with the wireless. That's what I said.
You're too young. You're too young. Go and look them up. It's good fun. But are we looking? So we've lost a couple of World Cups. We've learnt them, right? And when you look at the South African front row, now we've got these young men coming through, Tamaiti, for example, who are huge men, but also athletes. So I'm really excited about some of this new guys that are coming forward, because they're going to be big enough to compete against the biggest scrums, but also got the steps and the runs and exciting Mills.
Looking forward to it.
As he said, doesn't want to be given anything. He wants to earn it. And all of these 32 players will be earning their spots over the next couple of weeks. He can guarantee that. We'll be back right after this. You're watching the Breakdown special where Scott Razor-Robertson has just named his 32 men to play for the All Blacks in the first 3 tests of the year. JK, you also want to talk about some of the guys who haven't made it. And we should note that there are actually 4 players coming into the All Blacks environment as training partners, and those players are Ruben Love, Sam Darry, David Havili and George Bower are going to be a part of this group in a part-time capacity.
Yeah, look, I think there was a hidden message from Razor about both sides of the ball. So, yeah, you need to listen to those messages and go, why did I miss out? You'll be incredibly disappointed, and you'd need to turn that disappointment into motivation to say, OK, I'm now going to show you, and when you get that opportunity to do it. You know, and Hoskins will be disappointed. Another guy that would have been in the conversation. And most of these people, you know, Hoskins, Riccatelli, Havili obviously going in, Bower, Love, Darry, Yosse, Lakai, Plummer, they would have been in the conversation. They are there or thereabouts, right? So that's what you need to remember when you've missed out, and you need to use that as motivation. But that was both sides of the ball. If I'd missed out, I'd be going, OK, what does that mean for me?
I think they'll be given a clear message. All of those players will get feedback, and they'll understand exactly what it is that they need to do if they, the next stage, the next opportunity they get, the next time they're out there playing, they're in front of the selections team, and they'll be getting tracked exactly. And you know, the Māori All Blacks have got a campaign as well, and then you've also got later on in the season. But you heard him say this is a squad to beat England. That's all he said. Didn't say anything else other than that. Scott Robertson said this is a squad to beat England. So no one's completely out of the frame and out of the picture. Some of these guys might not come up to the mark. They might not see when they're in that environment, and form is still form, right? So, yep, I am interested in those 4 guys, Darry, Love, Havili and Bower. So there's a spread there, right? So they know, I think, they see where they're vulnerable. There's no doubt when you saw Ofa Tuangafasi come off after the game on the weekend, he was a bit banged up. He was pretty sore. So whether or not they just needed another prop. And obviously Bower is their next cab off the rank at loose head prop. So I look at that. What's that?
Should he go to hooker?
No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. We've got guys that are around. Look, we've got Samasoni Tokiaho will be back. I know he's out for a significant time now. But Love is there, you know, so you're going, he's the next fullback. Yeah, so I think we've got an indication. Yeah. Yes, they've picked 32, but they've told you 36 guys are the ones at the moment who they're looking at and considering, Mills.
But if you're a Hoskins or Tutu and you're not on that extras list either, what are you thinking when you've just had arguably the best season of your life?
Well, I think that's where the coaches would have to sit down with them and say it's either this side of the ball or it's that side of the ball, or actually we don't like your attitude when you're in camp, because it's either be one of the 3 things. It's either attitude or that side of the ball and the other side of the ball. And I'm pretty sure if you know Razor and Jason, who'd be talking to them, they will tell you the truth, and then it's up to you to do that. Because if you're Hoskins, you'd be saying, what more could I do? Right? That's what you'd be saying to yourself. And he needs to get that clear indication about what he needs to do, and one of those 3 things, and move on pretty quickly.
Well, sometimes it's all about opportunities, right? Because TJ Perenara got an opportunity at the Hurricanes this season as an out-and-out starter with Cam Roigard's injuries. He is back for the first time in the All Blacks environment in 2 years after 2 Achilles injuries later, and he's with Kim.
Oh, it's fantastic now to be joined by TJ Perenara. TJ, you have worked so hard for this. Can you even begin to describe the emotions that come with being named in the All Blacks again after everything you have been through?
I don't think I can. I'm obviously really proud. There has been a lot of work that's gone into it, but I don't think I've looked back and really appreciated the journey that I've gone through to get here. I don't think I will for a while, because there's another job to do, and that's the beauty of sport and that's the beauty of life, that's chapters closed. I'm recovering and trying to get back to the space, because I'm here now, and the door opens and the chapter starts of trying to be a great All Black again and trying to really have an impact on winning in this environment. So I think one day I might sit down and look back on this whole thing and might be able to have the words to describe those emotions, but at the moment I don't quite have them.
When you got that phone call, were a few tears shed?
Yeah, post it, there was I was holding my son. I'm getting him ready for bed last night when Razor called, and I hung up the phone, and then I went and talked to my wife, and I was trying to get the words out to her, trying to explain to her that I'd made it. And in that moment I decided not to tell my parents, so my parents found out now when the team was named. I wanted to give them give them that moment. But to be able to tell my wife was pretty special last night.
Just before you close this chapter, can I get you to reflect a little bit? Were there times in this journey when you thought you might not play another test?
There was a time where I didn't think I'd play another game. Like I rehabbed a lot, hurt myself again, had to have another surgery, rehabbed again, and sort of felt like things just weren't progressing, and felt like the first time when I rehabbed that I was like hitting this plateau where I'm not getting any better. And there was a moment where I was like, man, I might not play rugby again, and I love this game, and I'd give anything to play, and things just aren't working. And then within like the next week or so, I seen this massive spike of strength and my ability to move around. And I'm very thankful to Nicole, our physio at the Hurricanes, who put a lot of time and effort into me, and she was consistent even when I would have bad days or whatever. But yeah, there was that moment, and I'm grateful for that moment, because that feeling that I had of not being able to play like makes me so grateful for being able to be out on the field, and the opportunity that I get to go out and play rugby is something that I hold dear to me.
Not sure you can say anything better than that. Thank you so much for your time, TJ. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Well, a very big welcome into TJ Perenata's whānau, to your mum and dad that are watching the announcement live as well. How special is the story, Mills, for TJ, given everything he has been through? You hear him. He's emotional.
Well,
it means a lot.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. I mean, we don't see that, right? We don't see the hard work and the plateauing and then having to come back in. The mental strength that Razor is talking about, we don't see that off the field. All we see is the guy that's come back in really good shape. He's a leader, we know that, but also the fight that he's had within that sort of Hurricanes side. So when you hear him talking about getting emotional, he'll reflect right back to when he had to have that second injury, because it probably was a time where he said he didn't think he was going to play again.
Well, mental strength, the guy's going for a 10K run and for his recovery after a game, that's telling you how much and how desperate he is to stay at the top of his game. It's a remarkable story, and he should be proud of himself because he's put himself through it.
I think greatness comes through adversity, and for me, he's just become a great. You know, he might be the third, he might be the second, he might fight for the first. But I often hear the word resilience, especially when I'm talking about mental health. If any parent wants to know what it likes or sounds like, just replay that. You know, did his Achilles twice, kept fighting, kept his dream alive. And I think that's a really important message for those that have missed out today. You know, it'll hurt, yeah, it'll hurt, but resilience is about getting up when you've been knocked down, and he's done it 3 times, and I'm incredibly proud. I mean, if anyone will represent the jersey and everything it stands for, it's TJ.
It's a really nice thing to say, JK. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, as we know, this team will assemble in Wellington on Wednesday. All 32 players. We are 13 days away from the first test. 2 matches against England in Dunedin and Auckland. They've already played a test match. We're coming in for our first, and then we head to San Diego to take on Fiji. It is coming around quickly, Mills.
Oh, I can't believe we're here. I can't even
World Cup was just yesterday.
Far out, we're here. Can't wait.
It's test time.
This is a very, very good English side. A very good English side. It's going to be an amazing test series.
Hey, this is a very good All Black team.
Exactly.
And I tell you what, I can't wait to see it. Who, and most of these guys were there last year, who tasted that bitter loss. And I tell you what, even right from the start of the season, there was a sense that they have got something to prove. This is a good team. I look forward to watching it.
Tonight, let the newbies and the All Blacks celebrate, and the hard work starts on Wednesday when they come back into camp together. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to all of you as well. We will see you on the breakdown on Sunday. This is the one that we've all been waiting for. This is the big one. England against the All Blacks.
Many New Zealanders in the crowd, dressed in the appropriate black and white colours.
You know, expect a few fireworks earlier. Both teams are willing. It could be all on.
Waking up to ash and dust. Jones, first try of the tournament. Lamu, he sees off Guscott. And the big man's done it again. Breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. Oh, he's got away from 3 or 4. Yes, citizens. Whoa. Welcome to the new Thank you.